Today on Talking with Colerain Township, we are going to talk about quilting, we're going to talk about dogs, and we're going to hear about the amazing work that the Colerain Township Quick Response Team is doing. In July, I got to bring my camera over to the Colerain Township Senior Center, and I found out about the partnership the Colerain Township Senior Center has with the Ymca to run its programs. But I also found out that the Colerain Senior Center is not just serving the needs of seniors in the community, but it's also a place where seniors are serving those in the community themselves. There is a group of ladies who are making comfort quilts, and they are making them in bulk to bring to sick children at the Ronald McDonald House. Of course, they're also making masks right now and donating those too. We're going to get to hear from them and see what's going on.
My name's Nora Dashley. I'm with the Greater Cincinnati YMCA for almost 16 years now and developed a wonderful partnership with the Colerain Township Senior Center about 6 years ago.
Hi, my name is Nancy Watts. I've been a part of the program since 2011. I had just retired and heard about this, and my singer had been in the closet for some decades. So I picked up some fabric, a kit, and I started sewing again. And what I love about it is I can be making quilts for children who are needy as far as their health goes. And I can give them away. I have a hobby that doesn't accumulate at home. And I'm an introvert, so I like just sitting at home at night and sewing. And this has been a wonderful hobby. I tell my friends it's a passion for me now.
I'm Rosemary Cano. I'm involved with the Y Quilt Making Club, and I love it so much. I sewed my whole life because I was so tall. I had to make my own clothes, so my mom taught me right from the time I was in the 6th grade. And then I saw this notice in the newsletter about making quilts, and I thought, I'm 81, so it's 5 years ago, and I thought, well, I've never done that, but I'll give it a try. So I have found so much joy. I mean, these women are wonderful. I've got so many new friends now because I quit working in '72, and I was happy to have some new people.
Hi, I'm Kathy Beyer, and I've been part of the group for about 7 years. I love everything about it. The community of women here are just lovely ladies, and we get together once a month, and it's good to come, to socialize, to pick out our fabric, to find out what the latest news in the families are in the community, and then we do work here. We can cut fabric and cut squares for ourselves or to make up kits for other people. So it's a really nice time to look forward to. I really enjoy making the quilts.
So with the YMCA of Greater Cincinnati, we have quite a few programs that represent one of our pillars, social responsibility. And one of them is the partnership we have with Ronald McDonald House, Cincinnati, is the Comfort Quilt program. And that program has been in existence since 2009.
They're fun, they're easy, and they're for a great purpose for the children of Ronald McDonald House. We've visited there several times, and the people there are always so grateful to us for coming and making the quilts. The people at Ronald McDonald House put together family bundles for each of the children that come. And the children are, at least up until the time of COVID, they were coming from all over the world. And the whole family would come, so there could be a mother, a father, and several children besides the sick one.
My name is Nancy Holt, and I've been doing this approximately 7 to 8 years. It was after I retired and joined the Y, and I found out they had a quilting group, and I got all excited. I've made quilts for a long time. I'm not professional. I just enjoy the process. Even made little quilts when my grandmother was around to help me out. I guess what I really enjoy about it mostly is the company. I live by myself. A lot of the retirees do. And it's nice to come together once a month and chat, catch up on what's going on in your family, and show off what you've made, what you're proud of. I usually make I try to do 2 a month. It just depends on the process and what else I'm doing with my life at that time. But I try for 2, and I enjoy sharing and showing when we all get together.
We get together once a month on a Thursday for quite a few hours, and we quilt, sew, cut fabric, you name it. We've donated almost 4,000 quilts to date. Today alone, we have 55 quilts turned in. Since the COVID, we have over 230 that have to be turned into the Ronald McDonald's house.
I usually only get about 1 quilt made a month. Some of these ladies are turning in multiples, you know. But with this lockdown, I got turned in 4. And the fabrics that are brought into us are just beautiful. I'm not a big designer, but I work to get my pattern laid out, and sometimes I call my husband down to the basement to look at it to see, and he makes good suggestions on colors.
Just since the pandemic started, I've cut out probably about 4 dozen quilts, and I have like 67 kits ready to sew just whenever, you know, as the time is available. But I've done a lot of sewing during the pandemic, and I'm not bored. I'm just enjoying sitting there with my singer and sewing.
We have over, 15 ladies that come in faithfully that quilt, and unfortunately due to the COVID, we just had a little special program today so they could see all the quilts that they have turned in since February in person before we turn them into the families at the Ronald McDonald's house, and we're just waiting for that green light.
Actually, 4 years ago, I moved away from this area, and I'm about 35 miles away, but I come back to continue to give to the group that's here. And so once a month I come back, but in the meantime it's a hobby that I can do at home whenever I want to, whether, you know, on rainy days and when my husband's watching a TV show I don't want to see, I can just go down to my sewing room, and I will stay connected as long as I can drive the interstate.
Ronald McDonald House puts together goodie bags for the sick child as well as for the brothers and sisters. The original intention was to give the kids something soft and cozy to hold on to, especially when they were going through treatments and didn't feel good or were in pain, so they could cuddle and get some comfort for them. And so it's nice. So you feel like you're doing some real good for the kids that are going through trouble and the families that are going through trouble. And it's good for a senior citizen for us to be able to contribute to the people of the community and to the world.
We do not throw any leftover material that you can't use to make a quilt. We actually use those types of material, the scraps per se, for beds for pets. We always are in need of a sewing machine or two, because those that, you know, come in and they forgot their sewing machine or they just want to learn how to sew, we're here to help them, and we are able to provide the sewing machine for them.
And it's been nice to be up here in the senior center, because at the Y, during the summer, the pool, and everybody's going to the pool and it's hard to find a place to park. And usually we're carrying our boards, our cutting boards, 16 by 24, and I don't bring my sewing machine, but and lots of equipment. So it's nice to be able to just walk in here level. I just hope it continues for a long time. I just was so sad when all this shutdown happened. I don't know what I would have done without having my fabric in the basement on a shelf to make the quilts, and made lots of masks for family. And I was one of the few people in our area that had UC fabric, because all our families UC. My son works for the president of UC. And so they were calling me, can I have a 6x9? So I got enough for 2 more, because just about everybody in the family has them, and I put a different fabric on the back so they would know who's who. So that and reading has kind of saved me in this 4 months, because I just miss hugs, I miss kisses from my family, and I miss hugging my grandkids. And so thank goodness I get something to do. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I often wonder who gets my quilts? What child gets my quilt? Where is it going? And is it going to be put in a trunk and maybe pulled out 20 years from now and say, oh, look at this? That's exciting to me to know that it's being sent on into the future, hopefully.
So those of you that are interested in participating in the quilt program, mywhy.org, you could find information on there, or just email me, n-dashley, D-A-S-H-L-E-Y, @mywhy.org. You could even call 513-923-4466 or 513-923-5050. And I know that's a little bit of too much information. Just write that down, jot that down. I'll give you all the information needed.
On September 22nd at Heritage Park, Colerain Township had the ribbon cutting, or in this case, the leash cutting, on a brand new doggy park just for the small dogs, so that now they have a safe place to go and play and to make some friends. Let's take a look at what that leash cutting looked like.
This was an idea that we had, a year or so ago. We put it in our strategic plan like everything that we do, and I'm excited to see it happen. Jackie and her team did a great job, and we're going to have the inaugural cutting of the doggy ribbon, doggy leash, and I think Dan and Jackie, if you guys want to go ahead.
You're not going to cut?
No, you go ahead.
You can have.
Hello, Jackie.
Hello, Mr. Unger.
It's so nice to be here on such a beautiful day in Colerain Township. We
Yes.
get to cut the ceremonial dog leash to release the ceremonial dog to the freedom of the dog park.
Yes, for these small dogs, 25 pounds and under, so they have their own space. So the big dogs can run in the big area, and the small dogs can have their space, because you know how small dogs are.
And what's the name of the park?
It is the
Bullpen.
bullpen.
Doggy bullpen.
The doggy bullpen. I forgot that part.
And it looks like doggy love at first sight. So we will now cut the ceremonial dog
Be
leash.
here before there's more
Yes.
doggy love.
There you go.
Stretch Rajat, ready?
There we go.
Yay.
And with that, the dog park is now open, right?
Where are you going? Where are you going?
The Colerain Township Quick Response Team just won a 2020 Community Health and Safety Award from the ICMA, which is the International City County Management Association. Let's hear from Chief Mueller to find out more about that quick response team.
Colerain Township formed the nation's first quick response team in 2015 as its response to the opiate epidemic occurring in our community. At the time, we saw an increase in number of overdose responses from our 911 agency and our police agency. We also saw an increase of deaths associated with those opiate overdoses. The goal of our quick response team is twofold. First, it brings addiction and recovery resources right to the doorstep of the individual. In other words, we meet the individual where they are. Secondly, we want to remove barriers to treatment, and those barriers involve stigma, transportation, time of day, and the discovery of underlying untreated medical conditions. The outcomes we were looking for from a quick response team perspective was a reduction in overdose responses, a reduction in overdose-related deaths, a reduction in crime rates, reduced exposure to communicable diseases like hepatitis C and HIV, increased quality of life, and we're looking for enhanced relationship between our community and our governmental bodies. To date, our quick response team has conducted over 550 follow-ups. We have been successful at getting 270 of those engaged in treatment and recovery resources. That represents nearly 70% of those that we've come into face-to-face contact with. Additionally, we've seen a 52% reduction in overall 911 responses to overdoses over the last year and a half. Likewise, we've seen a reduction in drug-related crime throughout our entire community. Our future goal for our quick response team is to expand the scope of success and work that's conducted by the team. Originally, our quick response team was designed to combat the opiate epidemic and that form of addiction. However, as we know, there are several forms of addiction, and this model is adaptable to each one of those. On behalf of Colerain Township, I would like to thank the ICMA for this award and this special recognition. It's very valued and appreciated. In the same manner, I'd also like to thank the men and women who serve on this team day in and day out, who create the success and the outcomes that we're all looking for.
Before we wrap up, I have one more reminder. We have an election coming up. I just want to make sure that everyone knows you can check to see if you are registered to vote at the Hamilton County Board of Elections website. You can register to vote on the site. You can see all the deadlines. You can see voting locations. And if you put in your address, not only can you see your polling place, but you can see a sample ballot for your precinct. So you can do the research ahead of time and find out who you want to vote for and what your issues are going to be. Thanks for watching Talking with Colerain Township.